episode of the Monday Night Self-Care Session. My name is Stephanie Burton, and this is Project Glow, where I teach women how to fall in love with themselves first, and as a result, stop overgiving, overcaring, and sacrificing their own needs. In tonight's session, I'm going to be tackling a lovely, juicy topic, and this is something I call Soulmate Sat-Nav. Now, your Facebook and social media, Instagram feed will be chock-a-block full of soulmate this, soulmate that. And you might have heard in one of the other sessions that I don't actually as such believe that there is a soulmate in the conventional sense, that there is one person, only one person out there that is truly and utterly destined for you. That just is rubbish. But if you think in terms of the soulmate being somebody that you're very compatible with, very well aligned with, and have a really deep connection with, then let's think of soulmate that way. So interchange the concept of soulmate and ideal relationship, or deeply connected, communicative, healthy relationship, if you like. So you've probably seen a lot of the stuff about the law of attraction with regards to soulmate. And what I want to highlight about this evening session is that I'm only going to be tackling mindset. Now, whenever you want to achieve a goal, I usually talk in 3 sections, and that is mindset, strategy, action. Because one of the big bugbears that I have with the law of attraction, and also The Secret, although I love The Secret, is that the idea that it just takes mindset doesn't really work. So, think of anything, anything in terms of achieving a goal. It's not just mindset. Mindset is paramount. It is one of the most important and fundamental aspects, but it's not the only thing. So do keep in mind that I'm just talking mindset tonight. That's the first thing I want to highlight to you. The next thing I need to highlight to you, this is only about attracting, attracting that relationship. There's also filtering people. There's also hanging on to relationships. There's also sticking with relationships a really long time, overcoming difficulties. So this is just the attraction bit. And please, please, please don't think that that's all it takes, because actually there's so many parts of the machinery here. And this is one area where people think they've got it all figured out, and actually none of us know how to do relationships. Especially as ladies, we like to think that just because we're great at communication and quite empathetic, we are relationship rock stars, and it is absolute swear word rubbish. You need to learn how to do relationships, and very, very gladly I will be able to point you in the right direction. There are some amazing teachers out there, PhDs who have, dedicated their entire lives to this topic. There is really some amazing, amazing stuff out there. Harville Hendricks, David Snarch, the list is so long. I'm going to be introducing some of those books that you can dip into and start reading about them in the Sunday sessions, in the book club sessions. So tonight, it's just mindset, first of all, and then second of all, it's just about attracting. It's not about filtering, which a lot of us are really, really bad at, especially if you have a people-pleasing, codependent, anxious attachment style. And holding on to a relationship is a whole other thing that you need to learn about. Okay, so as usual, I have done really lovely notes for me, but I will post them for you as well. So this is about the inner work. This is about understanding that the vibe you give off when you walk around in society actually is quite a big deal in terms of attracting someone. I'm sure you've all had experiences where, you felt completely awful and miserable and absolutely nobody engaged you in conversation. And then on days where you felt really amazing, you had great hair, you felt real good, lots of people made eye contact. That's mostly because you also make eye contact, but the vibe was there. And so if you're open and receptive and engaging with your energy, you're far more likely to interact with a person, and it's far more likely to lead to you actually getting into conversation to lead you towards building a deeper connection. So I have 8 8 top points, and I will post the show notes in the comments below so you can see them as well. You're going to probably think I'm talking some crazy stuff in half of them. It's because you've probably never heard of this stuff. A lot of the work that I do is based on the work of Dr. John DeMartini, but it's also intertwined with lots of other relationship teachers. So all in all, it's, you know, I want you to open your mind to this, because it's probably not something that you hear every single day. Because the stuff you hear every single day is that you just need to imagine the person. This is law of attraction stuff. You just need to imagine that person and magically they will walk through the door. And although partly that's correct, there are a couple of problems here. Rumi said that your job is not to find love, but to seek and remove the obstacles you have built within yourself towards love. And this is really what I want to highlight today. All the obstacles, because if you really read all of the great teachers, they say you are love already. You are energy and love, and partly the problem is that most people don't understand that love is actually yin and yang. It's actually light and dark. So the true definition of love is light and dark squished together, both at the same time. So for instance, think of the person you love the most. There are a couple of dark things about them. You just, you know, gladly pay the price. And within you, there's light and dark. Within every situation you've ever been in, every relationship has light and dark, every experience has light and dark, and that's not just to mess you about. That's there because the light supports you and the dark challenges you. And actually in that squishy space between challenge and support, that's when we grow and get guided to our greatness. So the first thing that I have to talk about, and I talk about this over and over again in all of my videos, is love. Love is not what most people think. It's not infatuation. It's not the high of the beginning of you when you meet someone. That's a really funky cocktail inside your body. Bit of dopamine, bit of serotonin, lots and lots of GABA in there. And that's really the chemicals in your body that get you in a state of high. But that is an illusion. And that is a blissful illusion when you first meet someone, because you don't yet know their dark side. Because when we put our best foot forward in dating and when we first meet someone, and because we just don't know enough of that person, that's when we get into this illusion that actually there is such a thing as a one-sided person or a one-sided situation, one-sided relationship, and that's just not true. So what most people call love is actually infatuation. The real stuff, you know, the love you have for your pets and your children and your siblings, the ones that you get on with, you know, that real deep love, that eternal love, that is actually light and dark together, because you completely take in the person's light side and you're completely okay with their dark side. You happily pay the price. Okay, that's the first thing that I need to get out of the way, that most of humanity has the idea and the concept of love completely the wrong way around, or just one-sided. Okay, so let's get to number one. The first thing you need to do, which is the first obstacle that needs to get out of the way, is based on the fact that the universe is more than happy to deliver to you your lovely relationship. But if you're not grateful for the relationships you had so far, well, it's not going to work, is it? It's like a mum with a little kid who's really not been very grateful so far for toys. You're not going to get a new toy. So the first thing you need to do is get absolutely and completely and 100% grateful for every single relationship you had. The ones that were lovely, as well as the ones that really, really challenged you. Because if you've been watching my videos, you will have seen me talk a lot about this. Every single relationship, 5 minutes or 5 years, nice and kind or difficult and challenging, this is also one-sided though, means that every single relationship came to you for a purpose. And every single relationship came with a lesson, a blessing, a message, and a gift. And you need to find them, because until you can arrive at the universe's customer service counter and go, I'd like a new relationship, but I really don't like any of the ones you've given me so far, nothing is going to happen. I'm sure you've heard those great words, is what you resist persists and what you follow flees. That's in the same topic. You know, if you want something badly but you can't be grateful for what you've gone before, and I know if you haven't done this work so far, being grateful for difficult relationships is probably going to mess with your head, but this work relies on the fact that every relationship, no matter how difficult, actually brought you to a greater place of growth. Even if that means that you told them to back off, even if that means you got stronger by pushing through boundaries, or you got more self-reliant, every single relationship came with a lesson, a message, a blessing, and a gift. That's the first thing we need to do, is really identify that and get to a state of true gratitude. All right, you ready for number 2? Number 2, you need to break your addiction and infatuation to love, because the universe is all about balance. If you look at the yin and yang sign, which is the ultimate law of life and everything around and within life, it's all about bringing things back to balance. The universe is all about balance. So if you're in a state of high where you think that a relationship only is up, only is lovely, only is there to support you, universe is just not going to deliver a relationship to you, because it can't afford for you to be in a one-sided perception. So what we need to do is we need to bust you out of your addiction to love and belonging, and we need to prove to you that being in a relationship is light and dark equally, pushing you to greatness. Being single is just as equally good, light and dark, pushing you to greatness, because in fact every single thing is always in balance, and therefore being single has a lesson, a message, a blessing, and a gift, as much as being in a relationship has a lesson, a message, a blessing, and a gift. And we need to get you to a place where you can see that both being in a relationship and being single has equal benefits and drawbacks, and that's when your body drops the addiction to love and belonging. And it's super important, because the universe is not going to shovel your drug towards you. If that's what you do when you get into relationships, you're like, woo, it's all about the other person and I'm just going to leave myself at the door. Oh, I've done that so many times. Got the t-shirt, the mouse mat, the mug, you name it. Number 3, we need to break your infatuation with individual traits. So your mind says, oh, I'm only going to get into a relationship if the person is 6'3", if the person is completely financially independent, if the person has 4 university degrees. That means that you are infatuated with specific traits in the other person. Now, the problem with that is that when we put somebody else up, we put ourselves down, and the universe is not going to do that. It's not going to give you a person that then you're going to absolutely eggshell around, that you're always going to look up and infatuate with and put yourself in the dumps. Is not going to happen. That breaking your infatuation exercise with individual traits, when you look at what exactly is in your list, and so many books tell you don't write a list. I'm telling you to write a list, because actually these infatuations with these things on the list are the things that are holding you back from meeting that person. Because the universe is going to say, well, as long as you think that somebody else out there is better than you, I'm not going to give you that person. So what we really have to do is we have to see, one, how we are that way already, because like attracts like, and if you think that somebody has something better that you don't have, then the universe can't match you energetically to that person. So in breaking your addiction and infatuation to individual traits, we go dive down and we look at how you are all those traits already. So if you want to attract somebody who is very fit, where are you fit? Where are you equally matched? It might not be in the same way, they might be physically fit, you might be mentally fit. And then also you need to look at what would be the downside to you if you were in a relationship with a person with those traits. Now your brain probably now thinks, that makes no sense at all. This is all about meeting your soulmate. Surely you want to get very specific about what exactly you want, because that's what all the other programs have told you, and then visualize exactly how that person is. I have no problem with a nice, big, long, specific list about who you want to meet. unless you have really made sure that you are putting those things on your list because you can see that they have equal benefit and drawback, not because you've put them on a pedestal and yourself in the pit. All right, we're getting to number 4. Number 4 says you must get right down into the core of your attachment and childhood trauma. Because what happens when we get into a relationship is as soon as we're in one, whoopsie daisy, we start playing out our programs and patterns. Now, if you've never heard of this before, a lot of this is summed up in something called attachment theory. Attachment theory says that people are either anxiously attached or avoidantly attached. So it assumes that we all go through trauma in our childhood. And so we either develop into overly outward people that like to people please and give up on ourselves for the other person, or we like to be more self-involved and actually a bit more distance, but essentially it comes from the same type of wound. There is a third category, which is called secure attachment, but pretty much nobody is secure unless you've done a decade or 2 of personal development that really challenged those beliefs and dug right down. Therapy probably gets you there in the very long run as well. But number 4 is all about diving down into, are you anxiously attached? Are you avoidantly attached? What does that mean in relationships? How do you behave in relationships? What type of people are you attracted to? Why? And then go for the jugular. What happened in your childhood? Because something happened for all of us. And we need to go right down into that place. We need to open that wound. We need to lift the lid, look inside, balance it out, get to a state of forgiveness and gratitude. I'm not going to go into that, but forgiveness means thank you for giving me the opportunity to grow towards my greatness. I talk a lot about that in the other videos, so have a look in the YouTube channel. So we need to dive right down into the core of your childhood trauma, because guess what? That is the one thing that is actually got you into a programming that makes you go into certain habits and into certain patterns that messes up relationships for you over and over again. Because at the end of the day, it's trying to point with a great big neon fat sign towards saying, hey, you haven't looked at this, you need to look at that. So the idea that you're ever going to meet somebody that you are divinely aligned with, if you haven't gotten the biggest obstacle inside of you out of the way, which is your core trauma in your childhood. And, you know, I'm not in that camp that says you can just, you know, fake it. You can just get over it. You can just let time heal it. Time heals nothing unless you dive down and you open up that wound again, and you open it and you lay it out and you look exactly how it was equally light and dark, and how it was growing and guiding you, and how when one person was doing something dark, some person was doing something light at the same moment. Your brain cannot let go of trauma. Now, I don't say that lightly. I have done this personally for 2 decades. I have done this as a coach through my coaching practice for almost 8 years now. This is, I don't just say that flippantly. I have gone both through therapy and through a whole lot of different modalities, and a lot of different tools are out there to manage the trauma. But if you want to get right down into the trauma and actually get to a point where it really gets dissolved forever, go check out the DeMartini method. I'll put the link to Dr. John DeMartini's work in the comments below. Okay, so you need to get, number 4, into the root of your childhood trauma. You need to dissolve it and get to a state of complete and utter gratitude and forgiveness. And forgiveness, true forgiveness, cannot exist without true gratitude. And then one of the biggest blocks will be moved out of the way. All right. Number 5 is a very cool concept in quantum physics called the second law of thermodynamics, which says that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change shape and form. So for instance, you're standing in front of a lake. It's a super hot day. You go for a nap. You come back. The lake is gone. And so you run around the lake and you go, oh, the lake is gone. But what you haven't done is looked up and seen super, super heavy rain clouds. And this is a great way of explaining that energy like the water has just evaporated and gone to a different form. So right now, believe it or not, your soulmate is right with you. But they are probably not in one person. They are scattered over your life. So the way that we go into this exercise is you write a list of everything you want to experience and feel with your soulmate. So you say, somebody that you can have a laugh with, somebody you travel with, somebody, just whatever you like on that list. And you look who currently in your life, close or distance, already ticks off that role. Because all that's happened is with soulmate energy all the way through your life, it moves from many people back into one, many people back into one. Ebb and flow, because actually for the universe to make sure that you get the most amount of growth, sometimes all the soulmate energy is in one person and sometimes it is spread across friends, colleagues, siblings, family members, pets, you name it. So it's that ebb and flow movement. And if you want to get to a point where it comes back to you into one person, you first have to identify where it is scattered and spread out. Because your soulmate is always energetically already with you if they're not in that one person format in your life right now. Number 6. We need to get completely and utterly completely clear on your soul purpose first. Because for a lot of us, when we get into relationships, guess what we do? Our whole codependency programming gets right up into our face, and guess what we leave right behind? Our own purpose, our own needs, our own mission, and our own vision. So one of the things you need to do is get really super clear about who you are as an individual before you're with other people, because otherwise the universe is not going to hand you that if you're just going to chuck out at the first opportunity who you truly are and what you're truly here to do. So really highly recommended that you take a lot a real focused time, have a proper session either with a coach or a friend, and sit down and really get clear on who you are, what's most important to you. What were you here? What were you born to do? What are you here to do? And really commit to that first, and then a relationship second. Because the primary purpose of being on this planet is for you to be you and to share with the rest of us the gifts and the skills and the experience that you bring to the table. That was number 6. Number 7. Number 7 is all about you must bust through your limiting beliefs and unrealistic expectations. So let's talk about limiting beliefs. A lot of limiting beliefs will be evident when you have a conversation with someone. There are no good women. There are no good men. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm never going to meet anyone. It's so difficult as an entrepreneur to meet another entrepreneur. All of these limiting beliefs that you really need to question. And one of the greatest tools that I have ever been taught in that is the work of Byron Katie. I'll put it in the comments below. She on her website has this amazing form where you just ask yourself about, is that really true? How can you know that that's true? And then it turns it around and it flips it. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful. So your limiting beliefs are major business, because that's the stuff that exudes from your pores before you've even said hello to anyone. So kind of like real beliefs, about other people, like all men are, all women are, dating is, relationships are. We need to hunt those things down and we need to look at them, pick them apart and dissolve them. But then also, of course, you have unrealistic expectations. If you have unrealistic expectations that whoever you're going to meet is only going to be nice, is never going to have an argument with you, is never going to disagree with you, is never going to have a wobble, And the universe is not going to hand you a relationship, is it? If you're only going to be high and mighty, you know, up in your own game and snooty and going, well, I only want a relationship if it's only perfect. Which is junk, because you are light and dark. You are kind and mean. You are perfectly balanced. And in order to attract another person who's perfectly balanced, you first have to own your light and dark as a whole and haul your butt out of these unrealistic expectations that somehow, somewhere, there is a person that is only going to be one-sided, or a relationship that is only going to be this one-sided. The part that you don't understand, that actually the light within that person and that relationship is there to make you feel comfortable, and the dark is there to grow you, because that's the second purpose of being on this planet, is to grow and be guided towards your greatness, because that's what life is about, adjustment and growth. And guess how most people, you know, grow? We really only grow when we're really, really uncomfortable. And that's the gift that discomfort brings us all the time. So yeah, for a lot of us, you know, it's really just busting out of all of these beliefs that are just like little landmines in the journey towards finding your ideal mate, because they'll just blow up in your face, because you know, yeah, I mean, the universe is just not going to deliver to you anyone if you're this stinking pile of crappy beliefs, of one-sided, you know, beliefs, and, you know, both external about other people or about yourself. And that brings me to number 8, which is, of course, the thing that I teach in workshops, in coaching one-to-one, and in online courses very, very soon, is how to fall in love with yourself first. Because if you aren't sure who you are, if you don't have very clear boundaries, if you have never been educated how to communicate your needs in a graceful, kind, conscious, and loving way, then there's pretty much no hope. And I know that sounds very fatalistic, but you're always going to attract the relationships that are there to grow and guide you to your greatness. But if you want a higher level and quality of relationship, then that job starts with yourself and your internal work first. If you have any questions about this topic, please ask in the comments below. I'll be on Facebook for a little while longer, and I'll check in and again over the days. I'm sure you know a friend who could really benefit from hearing them. Tag them in the comments. As always, my offer to you, my lovely Facebook family, is that I do 20-minute calls about any topic you want to talk about, or anything that came up in these videos. Comment in the comments below, you know, say yes, me please, or send me a private message, because you'll be amazed what we can do in 20 minutes. What I usually do in these calls is give you the overview, and then you have a choice about how and with whom you want to work at it, or maybe you want to do it yourself. But the overview, somebody that just lays it out, is most important, because most of the time, and I have coaches too, I'm not exempt from that, it's our blind spots. It's the things we don't know that are usually the biggest roadblocks in our lives. And, you know, we all suffer from that. We can't see our own stuff, and somebody else can. So please keep asking me questions, because when you ask questions, all the juicy stuff comes up that everybody else wants to ask as well. So don't be shy, put them in the comments below, and if it's very personal and private, do send me a message. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I look forward to seeing you next Monday night for another Project Glow Monday night self-care session. Till then, take care. Bye.